I needed to go off on my own and create my own thing. And it was all about the image. Now, what and I will go into it throughout the presentation, but self-image is everything. And it's not just how we see ourselves on the outside, it's mostly how we see ourselves on the inside. So I have been a coach for the past 3 years, working in mindset. I've worked with entrepreneurs. I've helped people launch businesses. I have watched people transform their lives first from the inside, which is very, very important, and then from the outside. And that's exactly how I've transformed my life and grown throughout my journey. So I'm not going to go too much into kind of my journey, because if you go, any past posts that I've done in the Happy Healthy Women group, it's all there. And I'm happy to connect with anyone and talk a little bit more about it, but I do want to be mindful of the time. So self-image. So this is a description that I actually found on Wikipedia, and I thought it was very interesting. So self-image, what self-image is, before we go into self-image, we really need to understand what it is and then create our own definition of it. So self-image is the mental picture, generally of a kind that is quite resistant to change. That's our paradigm, just to let you know. And it depicts not only details that are potentially available to an objective investigation by others, which is what we see on the outside, but also items that have been learned by a person about themselves. So that's the inside journey of self-image, which really is the most important piece of self-image. So this can come from experiences. This can come from the society. This can come from a whole bunch of different things, but it's all a component of our own self-concept. So when we are thinking about our goals, and I could do a whole other presentation on goal setting, but when we're thinking about our goals and we're thinking about the objective that we've set out to achieve this year, our self-concept of how we see ourselves is going to dictate how we achieve that goal, but also how easily we achieve that goal. So when I talk about goal setting, I talk about coming from the goal. When we're going to the goal, we're working really, really hard. When we're coming from the goal, it flows with more ease. And what coming from the goal means is being that person now. And that's a self-image thing. So it's really getting clear on who is the woman who's living the life that you desire to live. And I'm going to go into and give you some prompts on how to create that image. I have to move my little people so I can see my slides. There we go. So again, so self-image, it's how we see ourselves. It's how we think others see us, our belief systems, our habits, and also how we see life. So perception is a big part of self-image, how we perceive ourselves and how we perceive life around us. I absolutely love this quote. It's a bit of a mouthful. And I remember the first time I heard it, I really had to think about it. And that's it. And I invite you to take a screenshot of it and take some time to think about it too. I am not who you think I am. I am not who I think I am. I am who I think you think I am. It's
Kayleigh,
how.
I thought that was Jay Shetty that said that.
Sorry?
I thought that was Jay Shetty that said that. I've been
Well, I
told
got
that
it
was
from Bob Proctor, but everything's borrowed.
okay.
So
Yeah, right.
everything's borrowed. I heard it from Bob. He might have heard it from someone else. Jay Shetty might have heard it from Bob. Either way, it doesn't matter who said it. What matters is what it means and that perception of your own self-concept. So we often create stories about ourselves based on how we think other people perceive us. And what we need to do to create this bigger self-image is decide how we want to perceive us. So I invite you to just take some time with that and sit with that quote. It's really, it impacted me. And that's why it's in this presentation today. The other truth about self-image is that you cannot outperform your self-image. So if you have income goals, for example, and I do like income goals because they are measurable, you can't outperform the self-image. You can't outperform how you see yourself. You can't outperform your belief system. And this is all coming back into that self-concept. So in order to change your results, you have to change your self-concept. You have to change that self-image. Another word for self-image is self-identity. It's how you see yourself on the inside. And there's so many different pieces. Like, I wish it was just as easy as like, okay, I'm just gonna make a change and it's all gonna filter through, because it does come down to your core. It comes down to your belief system. And it comes down to how you see yourself and how you hold yourself, your habits, your beliefs, all of those things form that self-image. And that's what needs to change in order to achieve those goals. So people are looking for an answer outside of themselves to achieve their goals, and they're never going to find it there. It always comes down to self-image. And a big part of our self-image, and I mentioned the word paradigm before, what a paradigm is it is our subconscious belief system. It's what lives in our subconscious mind. So our habits, beliefs, and ideas that we've subconsciously accepted. In order to change what's happening on the outside, we have to change what's going on the inside. And that is where self-image work comes in, because life isn't, you can't force life to change. And oftentimes, I actually just read a post this morning. Someone was talking about New Year's resolutions and not creating those internal changes to achieve those New Year's resolutions. So you like force yourself to go to the gym. I'll use the gym because that's like the most popular one that I think everyone can. You've heard the story of, gyms are packed in January and empty in February, because you can't force yourself to do the thing over and over and over again. You actually have to change how you see and perceive yourself. So with exercise, for example, it's like, okay, it's instead of I'm going to the gym and I'm working out and because I want to look a certain way, it's like, I'm doing that because I love myself and I'm worthy of that. And I am the person who exercises 3 times a week, 4 times a week, instead of like, oh, I have to go to the gym. It's, I am the person who does this. Now, yes, you will likely have to will yourself to do it for a time, but when you change that self-image, it's a different energy around the activity. Does that make sense to everyone? So there will be a portion of it because you're changing your habits and behaviors where you will have to will yourself to do it, but it's creating that habit and it's changing the stories around why you're creating that habit. I eat healthy because I love my body and I want to nourish it. That's a different story than I eat healthy because I want to release weight. It's the same thing with your goals, by the way. So the truth is, we don't get what we want, we get who we are. So whatever goal setting whatever, goal that you've set, you can work really, really hard towards that. But the basis of your goal achievable will be who you're being. So I love, and I'll actually pull it out here. This is a fantastic book. I've recommended it to many people. Many of my clients, I actually have them studying this. It's called Psycho-Cybernetics by Maxwell Maltz. And it is a book about self-image. I first learned of it actually, much of my work does come from my learnings with Bob Proctor. And Maxwell Maltz says self-image sets the boundary of individual accomplishment. That goes back to what I said before, is you cannot outperform your self-image. So you really want to get clear on who you get to be. And it's who you get to be. The truth is, we have unlimited potential within us. What is blocking that potential from coming out are the paradigms. It's the beliefs, it's the stories, it's those things that we've accepted in our subconscious mind. So we need to start changing those. And we do that through seeing ourselves and perceiving ourselves and creating a new self-concept of ourselves. So we essentially get to choose who we get to be. So you don't get what you want, you get what you are, who you are. And you don't have to be the same person, like, I think this was hard for me to accept for a while, is like, to get to that next level, I knew some of the habits that I had to change, like I knew some of them that were very obvious, habits and ideas, self-sabotage. But it was also changing my most cherished habits, because what got me to one level isn't going to be the same thing that's going to get me to the next level. So it's changing the things, even the things that you love about yourself, in a certain way to almost increase that, or to do those things on a different frequency and from a different vibration. So for me, I've always been great at connecting with people. Like networking has always come easily to me. I've always been like an outgoing, extroverted person. But when I think of my goals, it's doing that at a different frequency and a different energy. So it's showing up as a leader more. So, doing more of these master classes, pushing myself out of my comfort zone. So it's taking those things that have got you to where you are and exemplifying them so you can stretch yourself outside your comfort zone a little bit more. And you really want to get clear on who that person is who is achieving your goals, who's living that life, what they do, what their traits are, what their habits are, what their attitude is. And some part of that too is, how does that person walk, talk, dress, like those things. The first thing that I did actually when I started working with my last mentor was I changed the way I dressed. And it was this little thing that actually created a lot of confidence in myself. And that image, actually, I hired an image consultant in the fall to help me put pieces together that took that image from my mind and allowed me to start showing up as her more. Because there's a confidence piece to that. So you also want to ask yourself, where are you confident? Where are you acting with more? Where could you act with more courage? The question that I love to ask myself, and I think I might have this on another slide, but it's every day is, what can I do today to get an edge on myself? And that's a self-image piece, because you're always wanting to be pushing yourself outside of your comfort zone. It's comfortable in there, and sometimes it's not even that comfortable in your comfort zone. But in order to create that bigger image, every day you want to be doing something that's going to get an edge on yourself. So every day you're pushing yourself outside of your limits. And stretching yourself, and not in a way where you're burning yourself out, but you're playing around with what you're capable of. Because the truth is, even if you achieve your most, desired goals, it's only a fraction of what your potential is. So start to play around with that more and create a really clear image of what that is, and what action steps you can take every single day to be getting that edge on yourself. I love talking about financial goals. One of the goals that I love to talk about now even more is like, how much money do you want to give back? So I had someone share this idea with me, which really got me excited, is what if you could give back the amount of money you earned last year? And that got me really excited. So in my new business, I'm actually building in a way that I'm going to be giving back in a really, really big way through that. Because that excites me. So even thinking about your self-image and you with your goal achieved, how much does she give back? What impact is she making? And I know here at Happy Healthy Women, we all are heart-based entrepreneurs who want to make a difference. So start to build a bigger image of the impact that you can make, and let all of the other ideas flow to you of who that person is. So you want it like, this is some of the most important work that you can do, is actually making space in your day to create your self-image, to create that person, because that person right now does live in your imagination. But if you're not making time for those images to come through, you're not giving yourself the time and space that you need to be able to get clear on who you get to be and who you get to step into. I take like at least an hour a day to do imagination work, to meditate, to make that space. For me, it was really hard to make space in the middle of my day to like just sit and think, because I was programmed to think that is very counterproductive. I should be doing all of the things. Anyone else a big doer? Make space in your day to allow this work to flow in, because you need to have a clear image of who you get to be in order to start stepping into that person. One of the things that I love is actually like researching and following people who are living the way that I want to live and doing what I want to do. And an old mentor of mine said he would call it like being like a psychological kleptomaniac. So if he saw a trait in someone else that he loved, he would actually just take it and add it to his self-image. So I love doing that too, because it's like, right now we're just playing with theory, because we don't know how it feels to achieve our goal, because we haven't done that yet. So we're theorizing on how it would feel like. So start to look at other people who are doing it. Now, I also I want to highlight this point is change your perception around jealousy. I love jealousy because what jealousy means is that there's something that I want in what this person has. So if I notice that come up, I think about it, hey, that's for me too. I want that too. And that's okay. They've just all I know that they've just accepted an idea that I'm currently rejecting, and I just get to change the ideas that I accept. So I actually look out now. If you're noticing that you're going down the other path, don't do this exercise because you want to stay on a high frequency when you're researching and following other people. If you notice that you're getting into comparison, that's a big red flag. Don't do that until you can eliminate that comparison and just really see it as knowing that if that's something that they have that you want, that you can have it too. And then you build those things into your self-image. So how are you pushing yourself every day? What can you do today to get uncomfortable? What can you do to get an edge on yourself? And the key is, so one of the things I was really missing in my first 2 years in the mindset space was the embodiment. So I had my self-image script and I read it every day and it made me feel good, but I wasn't doing anything to move the needle on myself. And the key is in the embodiment of the new image. The key is in who you are being, who you are showing up as, and actually starting to get really comfortable being uncomfortable, because your new image is uncomfortable to you because it's not currently how you're living. Your goal might be uncomfortable to you because you've never achieved it before. So you want to be really playing around with what you can do to step into that person. So this is one of the examples I use for my clients with like material things. So if if you're envisioning yourself in a car, for example, well, go test drive that car. See how it feels to be in that car. I did that. I have transmuted my Mercedes by doing that. I test drove it. 2 years later, the car is parked at the exact car I wanted. It's parked in my driveway because I knew what it felt like to be in the car. And that's an energy. The same thing with, if you desire to be in more luxurious or opulent places, but maybe your bank account says, you can't quite stay at the Four Seasons yet. Well, then go have a coffee in the lobby. Start to experience these things, because it's what we need to understand is it's all energy. There is an energy in the self-image that you're creating. So start to tap into more of those energies, and then you can take them and be them every day. So how did it feel to have to be sitting in the Four Seasons lobby, sipping on a cappuccino, just watching and observing what's going on around you? This is just a random example. You can put in your own ideas of what opulence or luxury or goals feel like to you, and start to see, okay, well, how can I capture that energy in everything that I'm doing today? Because it's all energy. The law of attraction is a secondary law. I think I'm not, again, this is a whole other presentation I could do. The primary law is the law of vibration, and vibration comes from your self-image. Vibration is how you feel. So it's starting to be able to bring those energies into your day-to-day. It's bringing those energies, like Emily, for example, like when you're showing up on social media, you do it in a certain energy. You're not doing it to check the mark off the list, right? You're doing the activity to grow your business in a certain way, and that certain way is from the self-image that you're embodying, that you're stepping into every day. Does that make sense to everyone? Okay, awesome. And then I know we're going to do like a Q&A and mastermind now, but this is my new email and my new social media, and my website is coming at some point. But you can follow me. It's the Kayleigh Kennedy on Instagram, or hello@kayleighkennedy.com. I'm also going to drop a link. I'd love to offer a free 45-minute coaching session for anyone on this call who's really looking to get maybe more clear on who that person is with living that goal, and get really clear on those self-image pieces. So that's a gift that I'll offer to you. So I'll drop that in the chat after I'm done sharing, which is now. Here we go.
Awesome, Kayleigh. Thank you so much. That was amazing. It brought up so many great nuggets for me, and I'm going to talk about them. I'm going to ask you about them.
Awesome.
Uh,
Awesome.
but I'm going to just stop recording so that people can feel free to share openly. So give me 1 second.
And I didn't read the chat during that presentation, so I'm just reading it now just to let